every single day, no matter what your business is doing, that's how you build a tomorrow customer.
Yeah.
Just like you build a good friend, just like you build strong relationships, you are showing up to people daily.
Mm-hmm.
And while the market may not allow you to go, all 80,000 people that drive by your billboard this week need what you do, or maybe very, very few of them. And maybe you're a plumber, and by the time they're in their car, they've either got the problem solved or they're not aware that it exists yet.
Yeah.
The point is to make them not just aware of you, but to like you and to bond with you. Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I am your host, Brandon Welch. I'm here with Caleb Agee, the co-host, and I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we having fun?
We're having fun.
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
This is such a blast. This has been such a wild ride already. Energy is high. People are responding. We appreciate the likes and comments so much, and just the response and the mission that we're fulfilling here is already way farther along than I thought it would be. And
Yeah.
so thank you for being here. Thank you for all the people who have subscribed and sent us questions. Speaking of good energy, why did the bicycle fall over?
I don't know.
Because it was too tired. So every week we are taking your real life marketing questions so that you can eliminate waste in advertising, grow your business, and help you achieve the big dream. And we have some great questions today from some awesome business owners, don't we?
Yeah, we've
That's
got.
what I've
heard. You may have seen it in the title, but today is all about billboards.
Billboards.
Who is Bill?
Who's Bill?
And why is he so bored?
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out by the end.
Wow, these are some good jokes we're laying down here. So, Lori and Deanna both sent a very, very similar question.
So if you've ever wondered, similar question about billboards.
About
just
billboards.
So happened to happen in like the same few days we were planning this podcast. But if you ever wonder about billboards, today is the episode for you. We're going to go through, should you use them? Why should you use them? When do they work? And how do they work? And start us off with Deanna.
All right. So Deanna says, I have a med spa. Brandon goes often. No, I'm just kidding.
I may or may not know that.
No. I have been getting proposals from marketing salespeople, and I'm thinking about doing a billboard. My question to you is, with a limited marketing budget, should I invest about $1,200 a month in a billboard rotation, or should I put that money somewhere else?
Wow. Great question. So med spa, these are pretty luxury services, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what Deanna's trying to serve, who she's trying to serve the best, right?
Yeah.
Any of us could probably use a med spa, but probably only the fanciest of us do, right?
Yeah.
Us, I don't know. I may or may not be in that category.
I don't know.
But so the way the question was asked, I'm going to answer it the best, just flat on. Flat on, straight on, head on, whatever you prefer.
Whichever way.
I'm going to say probably not.
Okay.
And here's why. The way the question was asked is, I have a limited marketing budget, and should I put that money somewhere else, or should I spend it on billboards? That usually means somebody's looking for a quick result.
Mm-hmm.
And Deanna, if that's not you, I have another answer here in just a minute. We're going to get to kind of the best uses for billboard. But knowing Deanna's category, I would say probably not. And knowing if she's wanting that quick result, they're probably asking her to spend, that $1,200 for 6 months at minimum.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, oh, wow, I've spent like $10,000 by the time I paid for artwork and all that. And I just don't think you're going to see the short-term result. That does not mean billboards don't work, but they do not work usually for the today customer.
Okay.
Tell us what the today customer is.
Yeah.
Caleb.
So
Can you remind us?
Today customer is somebody who already needs what you have, what you're selling today. So if Deanna's doing micro needling or permanent makeup or laser hair removal, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
If I'm a today customer, it means I've decided that I need laser hair removal today.
Yes.
Or I woke up and my face looked like trash and I was tired of putting on makeup. So
don't talk about yourself that way.
Don't talk about my friend Caleb like that.
Talk about my friend Caleb.
No, I get tired of putting on makeup every day and taking it back off. And so you may have decided that permanent makeup was what you wanted that day.
Did Deanna do this nice beard that you have? Is that permanent?
This is permanent makeup. I just scribble it in.
Exactly. So today customer, they already have the need, pain, hope, or fear that they're looking for a solution or would respond to a solution today. And so keep in mind the med spa customer. And if I was wrong about what I just said, here's why I would be wrong.
Okay.
If Deanna does have an offer that has mass appeal
Okay.
to a lot of people, and she can make some sort of very quick, credible offer that's probably based on price or maybe hassle, like a today type offer.
Yep.
You know, maybe laser hair removal for $99, some sort of loss leader. Well, everybody else charges $800 for it or something. Something that's going to get somebody's attention who goes, maybe I wasn't actively driving or looking for a laser hair removal, but man, I've been thinking about that, and that would pull me into your world. That could work, okay?
Could work.
Or Botox for $9 a unit, and I cannot disclose how, but I happen to know Botox in most places is like $12 or $15 or $18 a unit, right?
Your forehead creases are looking real good.
So something that you can make.
just
Good. Yeah.
Just fly past it.
I don't use Botox, but that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
I do happen to know that it costs $9 a unit.
Okay.
Shout out to Dr. Reynolds. So what are we doing there? We're doing a mass appeal, something that somebody already knows about that doesn't take any explanation, right? Especially if it's a billboard, right?
Yeah.
And I can just say, you've heard about it. You know what it costs. I got it for less.
Yep.
And call me or drive around the corner and find me, right?
Because you don't have any time to explain.
Correct.
So some of these medical spa treatments are pretty
Complex.
hefty. Yeah,
Yes.
They're really powerful. They make good results, but if they're not household known, everybody knows what laser hair removal is.
Takes a sophisticated pitch, right?
Yeah. So if it's something you can sell me on really quickly, that's the answer there.
So if you are location driven, have a transactional, high need business, billboards can be a good way to get business today. So think McDonald's, truck stops, entertainment venues, the gun show coming up this weekend,
the fair,
churches.
Yeah.
You know anybody that needs church?
Yeah.
Lots of people, right? Mass appeal, right?
Yep.
So good uses for today customer billboards, like when you're trying to get that immediate action, are that. And you have to pair that with a very, very easy to understand, already understood value offer. So complex services like med spas, not going to get the today reaction probably, and I don't think Deanna wants to sell Botox for $9 a unit. But there is a very, very, very good use for billboards, and we spend lots of money on billboards for our clients. And I would say that is for the tomorrow customer. If you're not one of these transactional, event-driven, high-location, people buy it everyday businesses.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tomorrow customer.
Yeah. So the tomorrow customer is somebody who isn't your customer today. They don't need what you're selling right now, but they will eventually.
Right.
So they haven't realized their need, or they haven't come to that moment where they need what you're selling.
Yes. So plumbers.
Yeah. You don't call them till it's broke.
Yes.
Auto repair, probably.
Yeah.
Or
exactly. Yeah. Mechanics, plumbers, roofers. Think things that either happen, big ticket items that happen all at once, and people wait a long, long, long time to buy them. So why would we want to advertise using a billboard there? Billboard's superpower is showing up to a lot of people at one time, okay? Like better than any other media. Dollar for dollar, the amount of people you reach is super, super high, like almost as high as TV. So for the nerds, the media nerds, we have billboards that we are able to reach people for like $2 cost per thousand. That means for every $2 we're spending, we're reaching 1,000 people.
You'll hear that as
pretty attractive.
A CPM.
Yeah, it's called CPM if you've ever seen that. And TV, like even the best, most efficient TV is probably in the neighborhood of, $5, which is still really, really good.
Yeah.
Facebook and digital advertising can be as high as $50 or $60 cost per thousand.
Yeah.
So the dollar you pay to the billboard company is reaching a lot of people if you buy it in the right high visibility area, right?
Yep.
And your billboard salesperson can help you figure that out. But just count on them as long as you're not buying one
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, or maybe middle of nowhere, but just buying it appropriately, like high visibility areas is what you want, right?
Yep.
That's the billboard strength. And so what is the best way to build a tomorrow customer? Like how do we build and reach them?
Yeah, we talked about that a lot. I think it's just showing up every day consistently in their life, bonding with them, building relationship.
What about on Christmas?
Yes.
What about when it's raining?
Oh yeah.
What about when my competitor comes into town and they're kicking my butt? Do I
Yeah.
still advertise?
Even better.
Yeah. What about pandemic? Supposing we had one of those again.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Every single day, no matter what your business is doing, that's how you build a tomorrow customer.
Yeah.
Just like you build a good friend, just like you build strong relationships, you are showing up to people daily.
Mm-hmm.
And while the market may not allow you to go, all 80,000 people that drive by your billboard this week need what you do, or maybe very, very few of them. And maybe you're a plumber, and by the time they're in their car, they've either got the problem solved or they're not aware that it exists yet.
Yeah.
The point is to make them not just aware of you, but to like you and to bond with you.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk in a minute about how to make billboards work the best and how to, some of the principles you want to use when you're actually going to your creative.
Mm-hmm.
But just think about what we're doing here is we're starting with strategy, okay?
Yeah.
We're not saying, should I do a billboard or Facebook or TV or radio? We're saying, what do you want to make happen?
Yeah.
And so companies that are in long-term buying cycles, your best bet is almost always to focus on that tomorrow customer. That's going to be far more profitable in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of guiding my media decisions.
Yes.
And then is it billboard versus some of the other tomorrow strong medias? Billboards work really great at reaching a lot of people. Their weakness is it's very, very small amount of words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very short message.
Yeah.
So if you don't have anything else going on, like if you don't have a well-tuned TV or radio campaign, a billboard alone is going to make it really hard for people to understand who you are and why they should care about you.
Yep.
Unless you have a really good copywriter or a really visually pleasing product or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something you can really earn attention.
Yes.
It's not impossible, but it's probably not the best way because
Yeah.
you're going to need a little longer. You're going to need that 30-second ad.
Yeah.
And that time to build. So
yeah.
Short answer for Deanna, probably not good for today customers. You're probably going to be going, man, I wish I had done something a little bit more targeted, at least to get you to that higher advertising budget. If $1,200 is, of concern, you probably do need to spend that somewhere else. But if you're a well-branded company, it is a fantastic way to add impressions and get people to remember what they already know about you.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of leads us to Lori's question.
Yeah. Yep. So Lori's question is, I have an estate planning law firm with 9 locations. I've done some billboards in conjunction with my TV campaign. So she's running TV.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about adding more in smaller towns that I serve. Is this a good idea? And what should I say to get the best impact?
So 9 locations, that tells us Lori is an extremely established business, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great company, right?
Yeah.
Hats off to Lori. We know Lori. We've worked with Lori. She's built a phenomenal business.
Yeah.
Also happen to know Lori has a very, very cool TV campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been committed to her audience for years, and has invested appropriately. And she's like, you do not think about her category in the town she serves without thinking about her, right? Mm-hmm. So she's owning that. And so she's saying, okay, I've kind of got that going on for me already, but I've got these other smaller communities, and should I put a billboard there, or should I put the money more in like increasing my TV or radio budgets?
Yeah.
And I would say to Lori, extremely good idea.
Yeah.
Because especially in smaller towns, that impact is even greater. Mm-hmm. But again, billboard strength is reaching a lot of people at once, and you already have this awareness because your audience has seen you on TV. And so that's like 30 more times a month, maybe even 50, 60 more times a month.
Yeah.
Because you're
twice a day if you maybe
driving to work, driving home, you're seeing it twice, right? That is taking the kids to, soccer practice. You see it all the time.
Yes.
And it's a phenomenal way to increase what's already established for you.
Yeah.
If you're a no-name business, kind of hard, but this is not Lori. So she's saying, should I do more billboards in the smaller towns? I love that idea. And then she's also saying, what's the best messaging to use? Mm-hmm. And I kind of pulled actually from the Maven method. This is in chapter 14 of the Maven Marketer, our book. Page 161 has a lot more about this, but pulled the top 5 recommendations. If you're using billboards for a tomorrow customer and you want to just compound that awareness and likeness of you.
Yeah.
Here's number 1. High visibility wins. So do not buy half the billboard. Do not buy the billboard around back the Dairy Queen. Do not buy the billboard that's covered up by, 10 other billboards. Buy the one that's going to stand out. Buy the one that is not covered, and buy it on the right side of the road. So the people are seeing it, right hand reads.
Yeah.
Left hand reads. Even though you can buy them at a discount, a lot harder to make an impact there.
Yeah.
So if you can help it, don't do all of those things, but do not buy like this random rotation or small billboards, or try to save a little money, because it's not scaling the result down just a little bit. It's a lot. So if you're not disrupting attention, you're toast.
Okay.
High visibility wins. 2, this is hard for a lot of people, but use 7 words or less.
That's not very many.
In that time that I just paused, you statistically could not have read more than 7 words and comprehended them.
No.
Right? And that's what happens at 55 miles an hour. Statistically, it's impossible for anybody to read more than 7 words. So simplicity wins, and that is tough, and that is where the craft of having a Leslie on your team or a Carter on your team working for you, saying the most amount of impact with the least amount of words is like gold for billboard writing.
Yeah.
So
and also I'm going to add to that, because when you have a strong tomorrow campaign in other medias, like TV or radio, you don't really need to worry about writing. You probably, hopefully, if you've got a good TV or radio ad, there's that hook, there's that brandable chunk, there's that like phrase that will recall. That's really what we're trying to do in that case, is just to remind them of the good feelings they had. You got to spend 30 seconds with them when they were watching TV, and you got to sell a little bit more. Now you just need to remind me of those good feelings.
Yes. Your TV ad might be $1,000 a pop one time, and the billboard is $1,000 a month, reaching tens of thousands of people over and over and over. So if they've using the long form message on TV, they kind of sort of know about you already, and then the big thing just reminds them of what they already know, and all the better if it's like a humorous thing or something that reinforces your personality. Yeah, because you're trying to make them bond with you. Yeah, as Roy would say, Williams would say.
I'll add to that. You might even talk about this in a second, but putting a face on it, putting some sort of connection, some sort of feeling that I can just bond with.
Even though it's going to seem cheesy to you, and you're going to feel like Billy Mays or something. Yeah, put your face on the ad if you're trying to build that relationship. People bond psychologically, subconsciously with faces more than they do anything. Yeah. And that kind of leads to the next point, which is use stark, simple graphics or pictures. Billboards are printed at such a low resolution, you cannot get the detail. People aren't going to notice the detail. It's just going to confuse. So use solid color blocks, probably avoid gradients. And very, very stark images in like 2-3 colors maybe, right? Yeah. And you're wanting to make those words as big as possible, and your personality, your likeness as big as possible. Yes. If you have a really well done logo or a really well done cartoon, we have a client that does cartoons for their ads. Use that sort of stuff, but not high detail, rich, deep graphics. You want flat, easy to understand graphics. And part of stark can mean you can pay the billboard company extra to build like little 3D things that stick out beyond the perimeter of the billboard. Yeah. I'm going totally blank. There's a name for that in the billboard industry. We'll put that in the notes. And billboard people, you can laugh at me. And we'll have you on as an expert guest if you want. Yeah. But use stark, simple graphics. Use the catchphrases. This is tip number 4. And images and similar styles to your other ads. The worst thing you can do is spend good money on a campaign that looks and feels different than your other ads. That happens a lot, not just in billboards, but
you're diverging all your efforts. You're advertising 2 different companies.
Yeah, you're competing against yourself. Yep. So make it, start obviously with colors, but try to anchor your brand to these value statements and these same, 3 to 5 things you say over and over. And Lori has a fantastic one of these. She closes her ads with, they're going to you're going to leave it all to them someday, and they should earn every penny.
Yeah.
Or they should keep every penny. Sorry. And then she has some other, free second opinion language, and just the way people are used to seeing her talk over the years. And so what we want to do is take those phrases. And she actually, one really stark and awesome thing she does is she wears a white suit in every one of her ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people know her and her team.
Yeah.
And it's like there's the lady in white, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, last couple of tips. Use one call to action. And you could go either phone number or URL. We have a whole episode on what call to action is best and why.
Yeah.
But don't try to put all of your website and your years in business and your phone number and find us on Facebook. Don't try to do that. It's not reasonable. I could argue maybe even not using any call to action, but if you're going to do one, do one single one.
Just
and
one.
Probably make it the inverted color one that's down at the bottom so it stands out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, billboards. Recap.
Yep.
The best use for service companies and long-term buying cycles is reminding people and connecting with your brand. It's more of a branding effort.
Yeah.
Don't expect the phone to ring off the hook, but it's a fantastic way to become the guy or gal in your category over time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're investing in long-term return. I'm not saying decades. I'm saying after a year or two, like you will feel the difference in growth. If you have a very clear commoditized today customer type business and you can use 7 or more words, you can use billboards to get calls to action.
Yep.
McDonald's next exit.
Yep.
Love's
Turn
truck
here.
stop.
Yes.
Gun show this Saturday. Bon Jovi's coming to town. Like those sorts of things. Timely, short-term things that people are already desiring. You can use it. But probably it's the best branding mechanism. And so great questions from Deanna and Lori.
Yeah. Can I throw something at you?
You throw it.
Okay.
This close.
This is on the fly. So we're in the digital age. So we've got digital and printed billboards a lot, which nobody asked about that, but I feel like we need to cover that real quick in this episode. So obviously you've got digital boards usually are on a rotator, as in, they're physically rotating,
yes.
A few different slides of ads. And then you could buy permanently. You got printed vinyl, put it up on a printed board. What are the just quick pros and cons of each?
Yeah. I'll go pros, cons, and I'll go how I make decisions.
Okay.
Pros of analog, print billboards are that they say the same every time and you get that repetition factor faster for the same audience, okay? Pros of digital is in the twilight hours. They pop like crazy and they get a lot more visibility. So even though you might be on them 1 out of 8 times and you're paying kind of the same amount of money, the impact is greater because it gets attention. And I'll add, artwork is free and you can change the artwork instantly.
At will. Yeah.
So I especially like digital billboards if it's near a stoplight and where I'm going to have traffic backed up, because I know just by the nature of that thing changing and the contrast, people are going to look over. And so it's almost the same value if they've been sitting there for, if a stoplight's more than, 60 seconds or whatever. I'll prefer a billboard or a digital every time.
Okay.
Highways, I'm much more analog.
Okay.
If I can help it, because, highways is 60, 70 miles an hour.
There's 1, maybe 2.
Yeah. They're going to get a couple of those impressions. So sometimes you can't help it. And so I wouldn't freak out and say never do one or the other. But if you have a choice and all other things are the same, analog on highways, digital at stoplights, and if you have a campaign that you can utilize the digital nature and change out creative often, maybe prefer digital in that way.
Because you're going to pay more than $1,000 to reprint your vinyl printed board.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like a couple grand, and it takes forever.
Yeah, so you turn that art in, you got to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What about contracts specifically? So I know it's a big deal. It's almost like you're signing a lease agreement, another lease.
Certainly is. Yeah.
And so
they're hard to get out of.
What's a typical contract length for a billboard?
We see the best rates come at 12 months.
Okay.
Or more. I would not plan to do a billboard if you don't have in your mind, your bank account, and your tolerance to have it up for at least a year.
Okay.
It's just a waste of money.
Yeah.
And waste is not waste is not appropriate, but you're just not going to you're not going to reach that sweet spot where you're going to feel it at all. So keep your money if that scares you.
Yeah.
The only caveat to that would be if they'll give you a few month contract on like a digital billboard and you have an offer you want to test.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Or you have the show this weekend, right?
Yeah, the show this weekend. Yeah, exactly.
You can do a real short term on that. But
yeah, and if you have things like events, what will happen is you go to a billboard company and say, hey, I got 3 weeks to promote this. They'll give you somewhat of a discounted rate to show up only on their like empty boards.
Okay.
That's a good tactic if you have something like that. But otherwise, everyday business, probably not. I wouldn't do that, even if the rate's super great.
Yeah. Okay. One last question in the speed round. You didn't know we were doing this, so I'm putting you on the spot.
I like this.
Last question is,
questions.
I used the word rotator a second ago, but on digital boards, I know that sometimes there's ownership of several digital boards in town by the same company.
Yeah.
And they'll sell you a package where it rotates across boards at different intervals.
Bad plan.
Not good.
Bad plan because the billboard's highest and best use again is tomorrow customers, and when it's different people, different routes, especially if it's one side of the town today and then another side of town tomorrow, bad plan.
Yeah,
you want to own that corner, and the 50, 100, 200,000 people that drive that route every day to work. That's the magic of that repetition factor.
Yeah.
And when it's moving every time, they never get comfortable with that. They don't adopt your likeness. So the billboard companies do have offers like that, and I'm not saying absolutely never, but I'm saying unless you've got a really, really, really solid presence otherwise, and those are just icing on the cake, I would pay higher money versus for an anchored spot versus discounted. I'm everywhere. Yeah, you're just not going to get traction.
Okay. That was my last one.
Do you have any others?
That's it. I think.
How about Nate, the camera guy? You have any questions?
Nate, he's not.
No, says Nate.
Shaking his head no.
All right.
He's like, don't make me talk.
What a fun episode. And this is kind of a narrow topic, but still, like, there's a lot of questions around that.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times, and in life, we'll go deep. No, I'm just, you have to decide what you believe about it, what you want from it before the question's asked of you. And so oftentimes you end up with that salesperson coming to your door and you're like, I've never thought about billboards before. So we want to make sure we covered it early.
Absolutely. So
that you have thought about it and you have an answer, Yes.
Best for long-term thinkers. If you have a long-term attitude about your business and it's like, I just know by people being encouraged or seeing me and me smiling at them, and me having this good natured messaging over time, they're going to like me better. And I don't need to measure that on a spreadsheet and calculate how many people said they saw my billboard and that's why they came in. That's never going to happen, by the way. If you are okay with just accepting it as a trend over time, it's very, very, very helpful. And I encourage you to do it.
Yeah.
Especially in conjunction with a good broadcast campaign. So
yeah. Good stuff.
We have some awesome topics coming up. Smash that like button, as they say. 5 stars if you can muster it. If it's 4, give us a call and we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
And then subscribe to the emails. We're so thankful. We're going to keep doing this. We're more on fire than ever about it. And anything else you want to say?
If you have a question, send them into mavenmonday@frankandmaven.com. We'd love to get it in the rotation. We've got a list we're working through, and we'll let you know when we air it so that we know you're listening avidly to every single episode. Yeah. So
we'll say, hey, your question's coming up in a couple episodes, right?
We'll let you know.
We might even send you some swag or a book.
Who knows?
Or a signed football by Nate, the camera guy. We'll be here every Monday answering your marketing questions because marketers who can't teach you why are just a fancy lie. Thanks for watching and have a great week.